And today we're going to have another opportunity to go back to the vault. And we're going to be looking at the filming of Cokie Roberts with Jill Moss Greenberg, who was one of our founding mothers and also served as the original executive director for the Maryland Women's Heritage Center. Let's take a look.
We're creating the Maryland Women's Heritage Center because all the materials that we had growing up in school and still, unfortunately, a lot of what the children get today include very little information about the contributions of girls and women. And we hope to inspire both girls and boys and women and men by learning this other half of history that's been omitted from what they've had so far. What we say in the Heritage Center is that we're adding her story to his story to tell our story so that we make it whole.
Hello, I'm Shoshana Carden, and I am a proud member of the Maryland Women's Heritage Center. This is, as you know, a new program, and it's a program designed to help us appreciate the women who came before us, the centuries before us, who paved the way for women to have all of the freedoms we have today, and who paved the way by showing that women can be successful in every field of endeavor. This is a very important occasion for us. It's our first annual fundraiser. We are excited. We have a center, and we will have exhibits, we will have lectures, particular sessions, and we will identify and highlight women of achievement. Most of us are all women of achievement. So I'm delighted to be here. It's a successful event, and I'm proud to be part of it. As you know, this event honors mothers and daughters based on Cokie Roberts' books. I'm very proud that my two daughters are here with me. One is a conservative rabbi of the Jewish faith, and the other is an educator of preschool children. She teaches around the country how to deal with preschool, not to make it a nursery experience, but an educational experience, which we've learned is very important. So I'm very proud. They both live in Baltimore near me, and it's a wonderful support system.
Well, I think it's very exciting to be spending some time with Cokie and with bringing this event to raise money for the Maryland Women's Heritage Center, because learning about our heritage and how much the lessons we can learn from the women who've come before us can help us so much in sharing our lives with our children and with the generations to come. I'm Campbell Stevenson, and I love to work with the Maryland Women's Heritage Center. I have a program called Women Back to the Future that I bring to life historical American women, and I've been most fortunate to be able to share my programs with the Maryland Women's Heritage Center in some benefit concerts to raise money for them, and it's a privilege to do so.
Hi, my name is Helen Holton. I'm a member of the Baltimore City Council and chair of the Maryland Commission for Women. I enjoy being here. You know, as a board member of the Heritage Center, it's important that we come out and advocate and make sure we get others to come out to know just what we're doing. And so this is going to be a stellar event today, and hopefully we're going to raise lots of money towards our new Heritage Center and allowing us the opportunity to do wonderful things for women and girls in the state of Maryland, and to help educate men as well, men and boys, about the wonderful contributions. As Jill so eloquently always says, the Women's Heritage Center is about telling her story for his story so that it becomes our story. And so that's what we're doing. We're helping to include us in our story in the point of history that helps to educate us all and let us know what we've done, where we've come from, and where we're headed.
Good afternoon, everybody. I want to interrupt these wonderful conversations that are going on, but we have a lot to do, and I'm really excited to be here with you doing it. I'm Sheila Cast. I host Maryland Morning on WYPR, and I'm just thrilled to be here at we are our Mothers Daughters Luncheon to benefit the Maryland Women's Heritage Center, featuring NPR's own dear Cokie Roberts. It's really exciting, and without further ado, one of the best parts of what I get to do is to introduce my good friend Frances Ann Glendenning. Frances Ann is such a good friend that when a minute ago, when Jill said it's time to get going, I said to Frances, do I have lettuce in my tea? That's the kind of a good friend that Frances Ann is. She is president of the board of the Maryland Women's Heritage Center, and as you all know, she's former First Lady of Maryland. She's the driving force behind and the CEO of Jobs for America's Graduates in Washington, D.C. It's a school-to-career program implemented in high schools, alternative schools, community colleges, and middle schools across the United States and the United Kingdom. Francie's also a senior fellow and adjunct faculty member at the University of Maryland School of Public Policy, James McGregor Byrd Academy of Leadership, and she is the co-founder of the Maryland Women's Heritage Center. She served on its board of directors since 2004. Let's welcome Frances Ann.
Thank you, my very dear friend. I was, as you were up there speaking, I was remembering when you and I were in Romania. And we were actually meeting with women at that time in a very small room, because at that time they were still concerned about people knowing they were meeting with women's health issues. And so it was a room that had no windows. And so that I was remembering how we've been through quite a few things together. Good afternoon. I have to say, I almost had to take a moment a few minutes ago looking around the room, and as we said, it's a shame no one's enjoying themselves. I hate that when you try to make people enjoy themselves and it doesn't happen. I am proud to be associated with the Maryland Women's Heritage Center, and so many of you throughout the room, some of you for many, many, many years. And I'm not going to say exactly how long, some of you, but let's just say more than half my lifetime. So you know who you are. Lee Krasner said in 1979, the past is part of the present, which becomes part of the future. That's really, I guess, in a nutshell, if you had to ask me a quote that sums up the Maryland Women's Heritage Center, that's it. That's part of why we're here, is because we look at the past, first of all, to chronicle it and to identify what's happened, to identify those contributions, and really to preserve that once we've ensured that they're there. And then to celebrate and understand them, appreciate them, so that those contributions and those lessons can help us to shape the future. So the past becomes part of the present, is part of the present, which becomes part of the future. So too, I'm sure Cokie Roberts would not disagree with that, because we are mothers' daughters, and we have some wonderful mothers and daughters here today. It's so important for us to know about these contributions, and to respect them, to recognize them, to educate others about them, and then to, again, use them as the basis for moving forward for the future. And Catherine Porter once said, the past is never where we think we left it. We know how that is, because so many of the strides that we've made over the years all of a sudden seem to disappear. The laws may still be there. Executive orders may still be there. All these things may still be there, but guess what? They're not observed anymore. So again, that's another reason that we need to be sure that we chronicle the events, that we celebrate them, that we understand and appreciate them, and that we do so very deliberately. That's why, of course, Maryland's always in the front, starting with Margaret Brent, 1648, 200 years before Seneca Falls. No offense to those in Seneca Falls, but we had Maggie, you know. Maryland has always been at the forefront of women's history and women's rights, women's issues. Frankly, with, of course, as I said, Margaret Brent, and of course, Women of Achievement in Maryland History, the book that you all helped when I was First Lady, so many other things. And really, the Maryland Women's History Project has been very strong, thanks to, of course, the project in Maryland, and also the Commission for Women. We've all worked together, all of these organizations and all of these initiatives. We've worked together, and it's so wonderful to see it today, to be here together. And this is the year, as my good friend Jean Cryer was saying, she feels very much in her bones that this is the year for the Maryland Women's Heritage Center to take a great quantum leap forward, as we've already begun, as you can see. Yeah. Again, we are very proud that we are building the first comprehensive state center of its kind in the nation. We are a leader in this again. But we can't rest on our laurels. You know how I feel about that. You rest on your laurels, all you get is a sore laurel. I'm not going to take the thunder away from our official announcement. We do have a center site. Yeah, just can't say that too quickly. A center site not that far away from here. And we'll be announcing that and having some festivities there soon. Now, I certainly want you all to come there and to bring friends and relatives. I do want to recognize our event sponsors and Cheney Enterprises, including Vicki Childs, Donna Cheney Bunn, Mary Cheney, who are with us today. Raise your hands, would you? Thank you. Of course, WIPR-FM and our host Sheila Cass. Yay. WMAR-TV and Kelly Swoop is in attendance. MPT, of course, Women Talk Live, On Purpose Women Magazine, Focus on Women Magazine, MyCityForHer.com, Hartford Cable Network, who interviewed me earlier. I kept forgetting that I had to say, act like no one was asking me questions. And then, of course, Morton Steakhouse. Let's give them all. And, of course, Helen Holton, Baltimore City Councilwoman, who is also chair of the Maryland Commission for Women and a board member of the Maryland Women's Heritage Center. And also the Maryland Women's Heritage Center Executive Board and board members who are here were Linda Shevitz, Sharon Pinder, Ed here, Ed Sims, where are you, Ed? Lori Askenazi, Sarah Buma, Jean Pryor, Catherine Gira, Joanne Goldsmith, Joanne Orlinsky, David Nevins, who I think brought us to a few minutes ago, Audrey Scott, Carolyn Stegman, and Sue Ward. Yeah. Now at this time I'm inviting my friend Jill Moss-Greenberg, who's the executive director for the Maryland Women's Heritage Center, to come to the microphone. But while she's coming, I want to read, it's on the front of your little booklet like this. One of my favorite poets in the world is Lucille Clifton, and guess what? She happens to be here today. But I think yes. I really would urge you to look at the quote, because you all know I only quote women. But I think it's really important, and again, it sums up about women's history and recognizing what's happened. She said, I need to know their names. Those women I would have walked with, all those women who could have known me. Where in the world are their names? Thank you, Lucille. The Maryland Women's Heritage Center plans to give you not only their names, but more about them than you ever wanted to know. So we're afraid to ask. Thank you. Come on up, Jill.
Wow, thank you, Frances, and I was excited before to be here. Now I'm really charged up. And what I get to do now is tell you something about these wonderful mother-daughter teams that we're honoring. And I need some production help here. Koki will know. Those of us in broadcasting are used to producers. So we want to ask everyone, all the honorees, to come to stand. Is that correct? So I'm going to ask that. I can read every. You want to do it one at a time? Okay, let's. I think that's great. Stephanie Rawlings-Blake, president of the Baltimore City Council, and her mother, Dr. Nina Rawlings. Let me tell you about them. The youngest person ever elected to the Baltimore City Council, Stephanie Rawlings-Blake, is serving her fourth term. She was named council president in January 2007. She's a graduate of Baltimore's Western High School and earned a bachelor's degree from Oberlin College and her Juris Doctor from the University of Maryland School of Law. She serves on many boards and commissions and lives in Baltimore's Cold Spring neighborhood with her husband Kent and daughter Sylvia. Dr. Nina Rawlings practiced pediatrics for 36 years, running her own private practice in Baltimore. She retired in 2007. In addition to Stephanie, she has a daughter, Lisa, and son, Wendell. Her husband is the late Delegate Howard P. Baltimore City Council President Stephanie Rawlings-Blake and her mother, Dr. Nina Rawlings, both work to strengthen neighborhoods through action. Councilwoman Agnes Welch has written this note for today to Dr. Rawlings. Dear Nina, you have been a mother, not only to your own children, but to many children in the Park Heights Avenue area. I remember the many free health screenings you provided to persons unable to afford health care. You gave a loving and motherly approach to family health care. Enjoy this Mother's Day luncheon with your daughter. Sincerely, Agnes. Betty Buck, president of Buck Distributing Company Incorporated, and her daughters Kelly Ingridson and Erin Fitzgerald. Betty Buck is president of Buck Distributing Company Incorporated, one of the largest women-owned and operated Miller Brewing Company distributors in the country. She has served on the board of directors. She has served on the board of directors of the Maryland Chamber of Commerce and was elected the Chamber's first female chair in 2007. She was also the first woman chair of the National Beer Wholesalers Association, an association of independent beer distributors. She's active on numerous boards, including the Maryland Women's Heritage Center. Betty's also well known for her Harley-Davidson motorcycle. Her daughters, Kelly Ingridson and Erin Fitzgerald, are following in their mother's footsteps by working at the family business. Only 12 Miller Coors distributorships in the country are owned by women. And when Kelly and Erin inherit their mother's business, the Buck family will be the first daughter-to-daughter business among Miller Coors' 1,000 distributors. Currently serves as on-premise supervisor at Buck Distributing Company Incorporated and is the mother of one-year-old Jackson Irwin Ingridson. And a third. Oh! Another coming. Stay tuned. Erin is off-premises supervisor at the Buck Distributing Company Incorporated. Shoshana Carden, former chair of the Maryland Commission for Women, and her daughter, Rabbi Nina Beth Carden and Eileen Vogelstein. Shoshana Carden is former chair of the Maryland Commission for Women and first chair of the Maryland Volunteer Network. She was the first female chair of the board of the Associated Jewish Community Federation of Baltimore, National Council of Soviet Jewry, Council of Presidents of major American Jewish organizations, and the United Israel Appeal. She was also, there's a lot more, she was also the first female president of the Council of Jewish Federations and of the National Center for Learning Changes. She's the past chair of the Shoshana S. Carden School in Baltimore, which bears her name. And currently she's the honorary development chair of the Maryland Women's Heritage Center. While chair of the Maryland Commission for Women, Shoshana was instrumental in getting the Equal Credit Opportunity Act passed, as was Cokie Roberts' mother. Her daughters are Rabbi Nina Beth Carden and Eileen Vogelstein. Rabbi Carden is the general consultant for the Coalition on the Environment and Jewish Life and director of the Baltimore Jewish Environmental Network, which is dedicated to promoting environmental advocacy, ethics, and behavior. Eileen Vogelstein is the director of special projects for the early childhood development at the Coalition for the Advancement of Jewish Education and a consultant for the Jewish Early Childhood Education Initiative. Lucille Clifton, former poet laureate of Maryland, and her daughter, Jillian Clifton Manel and Alexia Clifton. A member of the honorary board of the Maryland Women's Heritage Center, Lucille Clifton is an accomplished and nationally recognized poet and author, college faculty member, and mother of 6 children, including daughters Jillian Clifton Manel, a contracts manager at Defense Group Incorporated in Washington, D.C., and Alexia Clifton, owner of No Sweat Fitness Incorporated, located in the Village of Cross Keys in Baltimore. Lucille Clifton served as Poet Laureate of Maryland from 1979 to 1982. Her other achievements, or many other achievements, include fellowships and honorary degrees from Fisk, George Washington University, Trinity College, and other institutions, 2 grants from the National Endowment for the Arts, and an Emmy Award from the American Academy of Television Arts and Sciences. The Maryland Women's Heritage Center, as Francis told us, has taken inspiration from Lucille Clifton's writing, and you've seen the passage from one of her poems on the brochure that's at your feet. Sherry L. Krauser, judge of the Circuit Court for Prince George's County, and her mother, Beth L. Levine, retired judge of the District Court of Maryland. We're having a little Prince George's County bonding here. Circuit Court Judge Sherry L. Krauser has been a judge in Prince George's County for nearly 20 years. She was recognized as one of Maryland's top 100 women by the Daily Record last year. She serves on the adjunct faculty of the Columbus School of Law at the Catholic University of America. And her husband is Chief Judge Peter B. Krauser of the Court of Special Appeals. Her mother is Judge Bess B. Levine, the first woman to win countywide elective office in Prince George's County when she was elected to judge of the Orphans Court in 1954.
A member of our honorary board, and this is the first time we've actually called upon her to do an activity with the Women's Heritage Center. But we're thrilled she's on our board, and most of us love her political acumen, her wit, and her writing about women's history. And today we're especially acknowledging the new release of her updated version of We Are Our Mother's Daughters. So could you tell us what's different about this book from the previous version?
Well, 10 years have passed. And so a lot has changed in women's lives in this country, mostly for the better. And so there are new women to write about, new milestones to celebrate. But, you know, the great thing about being here to do that is the wonderful work that you even in your formative stages have been able to do with the Maryland Women's Heritage Center, because the women that you have found and sung and allowed children to find and sing is really terribly important, and it's a great thing. And it's, you know, once you get a real place up and going, it's going to be very, very special for the citizens of Maryland, but especially for the children of Maryland.
Can you say something about your mom now? About your, you know, with the book, how the book pertains to, okay, and action?
Well, the book isn't really about my mom. The book is about women in various roles in society, but my mom certainly plays a role and is a wonderful presence in my life. I'm very lucky she's 93 years old, and it's great that she is with us.
Absolutely. What got you interested in the importance of writing about women's history so much as you do?
Well, I was writing a great deal about contemporary women in politics, and women's influence on politics as, wait a minute, that's the sign. Women as voters, as politicians, all of that. And of course, having covered American politics and Congress as long as I have, I spend a great deal of time with the Founding Fathers. And I figured I needed to know what the women of the era were up to.
Any other questions, Joe?
One of the things that we've been looking at so much is how we inspire upcoming generations of both girls and boys. What would you like to see, maybe as a result of all this learning that might go on through your writing and your work and the Maryland Women's Heritage Center?
Well, I want girls and boys to have some sense of the contributions that.
What I want to add to that really is that one of the things important in the ways that women often can work together, which sometimes differs maybe because of how we've been raised, but women work collaboratively more often, and when I say whose idea it is, I thought of it and proposed it first, but the partners, like Linda Shevitz, who I mentioned, and others have been equal partners in this creation because women have this capability of working together for an end. We manage to do when we have very little budget and make things happen for our families. And in this case, we think it's important for the society not to preserve and transmit all that richness that has never been.
The Maryland Women's Heritage Center has many years of programming that highlights women and their contributions. For more information about our past programming and other activities, please check our website, which is www.marylandwomen'sheritagecenter.org. Thanks for checking them out.